There's lots of things I'd like to talk about on this podcast, but one thing that's for me personally been bothering me is what can I do about my spiritual situation in terms of how I'm feeling based on recent events that have been happening in the world. So, there's just lots and lots of carnage, and I would say, fitna and evil that's going on in the world, and sometimes I just feel like an emptiness inside, and I don't know what to do. What do you think? How do I deal with this?
Well, firstly, the news is actually really bad. The news is really negative. The news itself is not a neutral thing. So I actually don't watch a lot of news, believe it or not. You get the BBC pop-ups. If you watch a lot of news, you're going to be very depressed. And increasingly, if you just don't mind your business, if you're involved in anything, you can get really depressed by the state of things in the world today. But Muslims, young youth amongst the Muslims, their default setting, if they start looking into things, if they're not connected to an imam or a scholar who could show them the ropes of the world, okay, and navigate the meanings of the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet, peace be upon him, your default setting is going to be confused, right? It's very complicated. And the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, whoever lives long after me, okay, we'll see much difference. There's going to be a lot of groups. There are going to be a lot of opinions. There's going to be a lot of differences, okay, a lot of breakups between groups, a lot of disputation. So we constantly have these types of times of confusion, right? And this is why the solution to all these things is constantly going back to knowledge. And people, even that itself, the path of knowledge itself, is confusing, because you're going to be told there are 3-4 paths, and each path is telling you the other is right and the other is wrong, or one is right and one is wrong, right? And they're mutually exclusive. So you're going to be further more confused. So really, if we're going to agree that knowledge is of prime import to understand the world, okay, then we have to understand how to seek knowledge. And we're going to tell you, you have to follow living scholars. So then we need to go further and see, well, which living scholar? There are so many living scholars. And from this, we have from the Prophet, peace be upon him, okay, from the Prophet, peace be upon him, that he said, the living scholar is the one who, you see him, you remember Allah Azza wa Jal. إِذَا رُؤْيَ ذُكِرَ اللَّهِ. If you see him, you remember Allah. We also know that in Surah Yusuf, it tells us, وَفَوْقَ كُلِّ ذِي عِلْمٍ عَلِيمٍ. Above every scholar is a greater scholar, which means the sign of a true scholar is that he has teachers. He has greater teachers above him, right? He doesn't wing it. You got a lot of people out there today, they're just winging it. They're not part of anything. They don't have teachers. They don't have mashayikh. They're not connected to any tradition of scholarship. So how do we know if their judgments are right or wrong if they don't have a teacher? Okay? How do we know anything? You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.